Hi, everybody. I just applied for a job as a courier driver for one of the big international overnight couriers. I worked at that company before when I lived in New York City, and I heard they had some openings out here in the Southwest. So I figured just for the fun of it, I would apply. I don't know if I'm going to get the job, but it was just nice to go in and talk to the bosses in their language to show them that I really do know the work and I'm familiar with how they do things. And when you work as a courier driver, it's not always easy. Very similar to being a mailman. You have your road hazards, you have your weather hazards, you have your dogs in the front yard hazards, you have people who don't speak English hazards. You have a whole bunch of those in New York City. People who don't speak English. And the worst part about that is the people who don't speak English in New York City have the nerve to act offended that you don't know their language. Never mind the fact that they came over from their country to here, the USA, to live. But now I have to learn your language? Well, anyway, the best part of being a courier driver, especially when you were a delivery driver, was when you would come back and you would talk to your coworkers as you're opening up the back of your truck. And you would say, boy, you should have seen the tough run I had today of this route. Wow, yeah, look at all that work I did today. You're looking at in the back of your truck and you remember how packed it was in the morning. And after 75 or 80 stops or even more with the deliveries, you have an empty truck or close to it. You might have some deliveries you attempted that you had to bring back because nobody was home or the business was closed. But otherwise, that feeling of satisfaction, there's just nothing like it when you see how much work you did that day. I was not even the best courier driver in my station, and I could give you on-time service on 23 different routes. I was getting good at the 24th route when I finally hung up my scanner and resigned and moved out here. I think the hardest part of the job, though, the absolute hardest part of the job was in the morning when the packages would be put on the belt and you would have to look really fast to see which packages belonged on your route or to the route of the person next to you. And everybody did work together, but it was very fast paced, so you really had to pay attention. Unfortunately, there were a few guys who I worked with who were the paid by the hour, got all day, ain't no rush for nobody prima donnas, who had this attitude, well, look, you complain to me if I'm running late, you can kiss parts of my body where the sun don't shine because we get there when we get there. And this one guy was also quite the womanizer. He would talk about his wife. He apparently loved his wife and kids, but he really had this thing for women where he didn't like them in general. Every woman to him, he referred to as a hooah. Okay, the word is whore. That's bad enough. The word hoe is very common amongst people when they want to refer to someone as a whore. I mean, hoe is bad enough. But even then, that's often used in comedy. Like Eddie Murphy, in his early days on Saturday Night Live, he portrayed Velvet Jones, a pimp. And he was trying to sell a course you could take out of his book, I Want to Be a Hoe. I mean, that was funny. But this guy, he was full of baloney, first of all. he was a slacker second. And somebody would bring up something about a Hollywood starlet or some New York City socialite spending her weekend in the Hamptons, and he would always call her a hooah, no matter who she was. This is the same kind of guy who would say things like pie hole or my old stomping grounds. He was a buffoon. And I guess hooah fits in that same category as all those buffoonish words and phrases I can't stand. So if you want to call someone who sleeps around or you think does, I mean, it's really not nice to say these things, I guess. But you can say whore or hoe. Hoe is kind of acceptable now. But please, whatever you do, just don't say hooah, because you're going to sound like a buffoon like that idiot I used to work with. All right? Okay. I'm looking out for you when I say this stuff. I don't want you to sound stupid. All right? All right. Be good. We'll see you next time.